Hello, everyone. We are really happy to see you here. Yeah, how are you today? Hope everything is okay and you're better.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, probably good day, probably good morning.
Yeah,
Hope that everybody is done.
with the hope that technologies will be okay today. Nothing happens.
Exactly.
So fingers crossed. So now I'd like to share my screen with you to tell you some ideas. Let me do it. Okay. So for those who don't know us and our company, I would like to tell you that today the webinar is organized by the company SR Teaching and Learning, which is based in Baku, Azerbaijan. But actually, this company is really international one since we work almost all over the world, cooperating with so many countries, so many teachers. And actually, you can see now the director of SR Teaching and Learning, Mr. Samad Samadan, and I'd like to ask you for a welcoming speech, please.
Thank you very much again. Hello, everyone, and I hope that everybody is well and kind of ready to start our today's webinar. So I'm the founder, so my name is Samadev. I'm the founder of SR Teaching and Learning. Eva Yevgenia Tatarova is our chief manager, and as she mentioned, actually the company is based here in Baku, but we are a pretty multinational company, cooperating with a lot of different language schools or different educational institutions across the globe. And we are in the business of teacher development courses. Organizing different kind of webinars, seminars, conferences. So if you want to get more information about the company, you can visit our website or our official Facebook. So, and today, to be honest, that is, we sometimes, kind of, don't know even exactly, how many webinars we've already organized. So, and today is the next one. So welcome again. And I do hope that you will enjoy today's webinar too. So, Eva.
Yeah, as Samad mentioned, we work with so many teachers, we cooperate with so many companies, and I'd like you to know that, yeah, I'd like to greet you and to welcome you to our ELT family. What we do free webinars, we had ELT marathon. Actually, I hope that we have some of the participants from our ELT marathon here. If you visited it, just please put just plus or yes, or maybe you would like to type some kind of feedback, it would be great. Also, we have online short courses. We have a unique, a really wonderful course, IELTS instructor course, as well as we provide TESOL certification. Actually, I told you about Teacher's Voice Marathon. As you can see, it was just 9 hours, and we had more than 2,500 views, and we had participants from 23 countries. In case you are interested to watch it, just let me know in the chat box, and I will send you the link. This marathon was for English language teachers, about English language teachers, and by English language teachers. So what happened there, we simply shared our experience about how to teach our kids, adults, and so on and so forth, which methods and techniques we use in order to achieve what we want to achieve. Actually, you do know that we live in the age of principled eclecticism, and we know that if something worked for me, it doesn't mean that it will work for you. So we shared our experience, and it took us 9 hours. We had like 20 speakers. So if you're interested, just let me know in the chat box and I will send you the link. It's for free. So enjoy it when you have time. Okay, also I'd like you to know that we had wonderful drama course, the use of drama in ELT, where we had 18 participants online from 4 countries. Also, we just finished teaching lexical at low levels, where we had 20 participants from 3 countries. maybe you know that we cooperate with Lexical Lab, the UK, so from time to time we can provide such courses on how to teach lexically. Also, right now we are having the Sound Natural and Native Like course where we have 24 participants. They are from 5 countries. Guys, if you are here, just let me know as well, because I do miss you today. This is our break day when we don't have any session, but tomorrow we are going to have the next one. As I told you before, we had International IELTS instructor course. It was really fantastic one. And nowadays, those teachers who have graduated from this course, they have their own students. They prepare for IELTS exams. So the next IELTS instructor course will be on 20th of July. And if you're interested in it, just let me know, and I will send you the link as well. As I said before, we provide TOEFL certification. We work in Azerbaijan, Ukraine, Georgia, and Uzbekistan. And right now currently we're having negotiations with Turkey, Estonia, Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan. So coming soon, yeah. And let's go to the main idea of this meeting. So I'd like to present you our presenter, Rosie Finnigan, with her webinar, Making Phonics and Pronunciation Fun. Yeah, sorry. Rosie, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, fine, thanks. Good to see you all.
Thank you.
So I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Samad and Eva for all of the support they've given me, and also every teacher who's taken time out of their busy schedule to watch this webinar. And I hope that you'll go away with some useful ideas today. Okay.
Rosie,
maybe you can share.
Yeah, I can share your screen. Samad, sorry, I should tell you bye. Okay.
Okay. So,
Rosie, can you make it
Sorry, I don't hear you.
Could you make it in a presentation mode?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so. Okay, so this webinar today is about phonics and about pronunciation. It's about connecting up these two things and bringing creativity and imagination to facilitate the development of these two aspects of language. Everything that I'm going to say today is based on my own experience, is in private language schools with Italian and French speakers that I've had, and as well as webinars and papers that are available online that I have used to try to improve my own practice. I will share some resources at the end which have been useful to me, so that you can also have access to them. So just to start with phonics and pronunciation. So phonics is a method of teaching reading to children. It's by no means a new method, and it's about learning how individual graphemes are letters and letter combinations. It's learning how graphemes represent phonemes. Phonemes are sound, and it's about helping children connect the letters to the sounds that they make. So that's the first part, and the second part is about pronunciation, which is among many things. Pronunciation is about many things. It's about learning to say the phonemes, the individual sounds of English, which may be different from your student's L1. There may be some sounds which exist in English which don't exist in your student's L1. And the focus today is about young learners, because these aspects, especially pronunciation, can often be neglected for young learners. So what exactly motivated me to give you this webinar today? Well, I have mentioned that I think sometimes pronunciation can be neglected for young learners, and in the past I was one of the people who unfortunately neglected this area of language. I've changed though, I'm a changed woman, and now I do not neglect it. And so I saw sections like the ones you can see in our language textbooks that we often use for young learners. And to be honest, I really did not know how to approach these pages, these sections. They seemed disconnected from the topics, from the vocabulary, and I just didn't really know how to make them fun. And I'm going to be very, very honest with you, I sometimes skipped these sections. I don't do that anymore though, just so you know. I later noticed that also a colleague of mine had done the same thing, had skipped sections like that. And this got me thinking, pages like this obviously are included in textbooks for a reason. And I could see that reason in my own learners. They struggled with certain sounds, with certain spellings, especially sounds and spellings which were different in their L1. So I started researching to try and improve my own practice. So if you take one idea away from this webinar, it is going to be, I hope, how to approach these pages in language textbooks for young learners, how to approach them in a fun and creative way. So that was my problem. My learners struggled with certain sounds and certain spellings. And now I'm going to share with you the solution, the approach that I took, which has worked well for my students, which is about integrating pronunciation and phonics and using techniques from phonics to teach also pronunciation. And most importantly, in a fun and creative way. So let's just go back first to pronunciation. Why teach pronunciation at all to young learners? As I said before, these pages, which are included in language textbooks, are there for a reason. And there are many reasons for this. Some reasons are the same as the reasons why we might teach pronunciation to adults. So, for example, pronunciation phonemes are the building blocks of language. So they help with many aspects of language. If we don't have phonemes, we don't have spoken language, except perhaps sign language, but today's about English, not sign language. They help with, they are the building blocks of language, they're fundamental. Learning pronunciation for adults and for children also aids fluency. It builds confidence for the learners if they don't have to think about, oh, am I pronouncing the word right? Am I pronouncing this sound right? Then they have more confidence to speak, and they have more confidence to listen. And then this in turn aids communication. They can communicate better because they're focused on the message and they're not focused on worrying, oh, did I hear that sound right? Did I say that sound right? And very importantly, they don't feel embarrassed about the way they're speaking. And one added benefit specific to young learners is young learners are more sensitive to subtle differences in sound. They can absorb sounds more easily and they can distinguish more easily than adults between similar sounds. And the final reason is that this is fun. I promise, maybe it doesn't seem fun, but it really is fun. It can be fun, I promise. I'm going to try to help you make this fun. Okay, and why phonics? Because phonics is a system which has been created for primarily L1 teaching, to teach children to read in their L1. So why use this in an EFL classroom? That is the question. Well, again, as always, there are many reasons, as we have many languages in the world, many L1s for our learners. Perhaps your learners have a different writing system, a different script. They don't use the Roman alphabet. In this case, for obvious reasons, they will need to learn the Roman alphabet to read and write in English. Another possible reason is perhaps your students in their L1 use the Roman alphabet, but perhaps in their language, the Roman alphabet makes different sounds and letter combinations, graphemes, make different sounds, different phonemes. This is called L1 interference. And in my classroom, I have experienced the effects of L1 interference. Now I teach in Italy. Both English and Italian use the Roman alphabet. And at the beginning of my teaching journey, I had been relying on students' ability to use their existing knowledge of the Roman alphabet from their native language, Italian, and transfer that over to English in order to read and to pronounce words. And as I already told you, they often made mistakes with spelling, reading, writing, and pronouncing words. So this L1 interference, I have experienced it, and I'm sure you have as well. Another reason why we could teach phonics to ESL learners is because it gives them the tools to decode English words on their own. They don't need the teacher or the parent in every single situation. So it gives them the opportunity to be independent. They can decode words correctly for the first time they see them. This is extremely satisfying. And this gives them confidence and it gives them independence. It puts the power in our students' hands. And as they are independent and more fluent readers, they can focus on the message of what they are reading or what they are saying in pronunciation, and therefore they can enjoy reading more because they're not worried, they don't feel upset or embarrassed that they don't understand a particular sound or a particular word. And finally, once again, it is fun, I promise. Okay, so which tools from phonics could be useful for ESL teachers? Well, once again, I'm going to keep saying this, it depends, okay? It depends on the L1 of your students, it depends on the amount of contact time you have with them, and many other contextual factors, the writing system, many factors could influence how much phonics we might want to teach and which aspects of phonics we want to introduce. In this webinar, I've tried to include the most universal of these aspects of phonics here, the aspects of phonics which could be useful potentially to everyone, all of us EFL teachers in many different contexts, private schools, state schools, whatever context you're teaching in, China, Ukraine, Spain, okay? In L1, in a traditional concept of, in L1 teaching of phonics, it's usually done by 6 different phases with increasingly complex linguistic objectives, reading objectives and writing objectives. Today, we are focusing on ideas mainly from phase 1 and from phase 5. This is kind of a pick and mix selection of concepts which have been useful for my students and which I've adapted to EFL from an L1 context. You, of course, can use phonics in the same way as it is used in L1, going from phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, following all of the phases if you want to, if that's appropriate in your context. Or you can pick and mix for the sounds, the letters, which are most appropriate for your students. So adapt and make it fun. That's the message today. This can be fun. We are going to make it fun. That's my objective. Okay, so let's take a look at these 6 different stages. So in phase 1 of traditional phonics program, the first thing which teachers start with is environmental sounds. Environmental sounds means sounds from the environment and associating these sounds with a phoneme. For example, this is a car, and we can associate the car with the phoneme. Okay, so then it brings the phonemes to life. It makes them fun. It's a car. Kids like cars. Kids like. Okay, so. We can also associate this environmental sound and the phoneme with an action, much as we do in traditional EFL teaching in TPR when we teach new vocabulary. So, for example, in the car example, we can say, and the child will practice driving his car when they hear this sound and when they make, importantly, this sound. Another example could be the phoneme, which is not common in every language. It's a sound which in Italian and in many other languages students struggle with. So you can associate this sound with somebody who has been running. This could be your action, and the person is out of breath, and they say, okay. So this is a way for children to associate an action, a fun concept, which can make them smile, and most importantly, the phoneme. All right, so that is phase one. And this phase could be very important to us as English language teachers, because this is where we can start to teach children the sounds which perhaps do not exist in their L1. We can focus on sounds which are different or which do not appear in their L1. If you do not have ideas, by the way, on how to make these different actions and concepts to connect with the phoneme, you can look at Jolly Phonics. They have got a complete repertoire of actions and phonemes and little songs to associate with phonemes and graphemes when they begin to write. So if you're not like in a creative mood that day, you can have a look at Jolly Phonics, and they have done it all already. No need to reinvent the wheel. Eventually, learners should be able to look at a flashcard of these letters. So a flashcard, for example, of the letter H, and they will start to make the sound, or a flashcard of the letter V, and they will start to make a sound like that. All right. So another fundamental aspect of phase one is about phonemic awareness. Phonemic awareness means understanding that words are made up of phonemes, separate phonemes. For example, the word hat is made up of 3 phonemes. At. This is called segmenting, when we chop the word into the individual phonemes. At. So they can learn to segment the word hat into 3 phonemes and then blend it into the word hat. So segment, at, and blend, hat, just like that. Okay, and we can build phonemic awareness with a puppet. Maybe Evie, you can share my camera now. Okay, I think that you're sharing it. I don't see, but I think you are. So this is my friend. Yes, sorry. Okay, yeah, I think that you're showing maybe my camera now.
We can see you, everything's okay.
Okay, you can see me, okay, thank you. So, this is my friend, Mikey. He was a present from my brother, by the way. And Mikey is gonna help us learn to segment and blend words. So, oh, what's that? He says he's scared. He's a little bit scared. Why are you scared, Mikey? What's the matter? He doesn't speak English very well. Okay, don't worry, because all of the people in this webinar are going to help you speak English. Okay, so Mikey, I have got something to show you here. Do you see? Oops. Do you see this, Mikey? Do you see this? What is it? What is it? It's a what? It's a what? It's a of. He said it's love, love. So Mikey is missing one phoneme. You're so close, Mikey, you're doing really well. But you know what? You need some help from the children. So children, what phoneme is he missing? Love, love, love. No, it's a, that's right, it's a g, love, g, love. Can you say g, love, g, love? Okay, and you can say glove, glove. Well done, Mikey. Give him a big clap. Very, very good. Okay, so we all love puppets, obviously, especially children. And the benefit of using a puppet is to teach children segmenting and blending is this takes the pressure off learners. They are in a position of power because they are helping the puppet. Okay, the puppet is not teaching them, they're helping him. And at the same time, they're building phonemic awareness. And they're having fun because it's a monkey. It's very nice. All right, so they're in a position of power and they're building phonemic awareness and they're having a lot of fun at the same time. So that is why I recommend using a puppet for this purpose. Whoops. So now we are going to watch a short video from Alpha Blocks, which is a cartoon made by the BBC. This once again demonstrates in a fun way how we can teach children to segment, how to blend, hat, and how we can teach them to use environmental sounds and associate those sounds with a grapheme. All right, so let's have a look.
Hey, hello, E. Hello, H. Exercising. Excellent. Exercise, everyone. Come on, N. Hen.
All right, so this is a fun way that children can learn to segment, to blend, and use environmental sounds. We have seen the little H is running and he's saying, and the little N, he doesn't want to participate, he says, All right, these are fun little characters and they bring phonemes and graphemes to life. So it's lovely. I highly recommend Alpha Blocks. It's a very cute and fun cartoon. So now we're going to move on to stages 2 to 4, which I've put together. These stages are about learning the graphemes, the letters or letter combinations, to make words with increasing complexity, and to match these with environmental sounds and blend them to make increasingly complex words. At this stage, a primary concern for us as ESL teachers could be a lack of vocabulary, especially at a stage when phonemes are limited and graphemes are limited. Often I've seen in L1 phonics programs, for example, the word pin. I don't know about your students, but my students definitely don't know the word pin at an early stage of learning. And it's just not a word I would prioritize. It's not something we use super often, but it can be made with the graphemes and the phonemes available at early stages in the learning process. A way to make sure that this is not a problem is to carefully select the words children will use when they are learning, for example, sit, on, in. These are all very simple consonant vowel or consonant vowel consonant words. So these are words that you could use: cap, hat, sit, on, in, for example. Words that they should probably know or start to know at this stage anyway. In stage 3 of phonics, children should start to learn the letter names. A, B, C, D, E, F, G is what I mean by the letter names. And this introduces them to some new sounds, which are diphthongs. Some of the sounds are diphthongs. So it's very beneficial, obviously, for children to learn the alphabet song, and it's fun to learn that song. But you can also use other types of music in order to practice diphthongs. One personal favorite of mine for practicing diphthongs, which by the way are vowel sounds with 2 sounds. So here we have one, if you can see, it's the Pink Panther, and he's saying, oh, oh. And you can see that this is made of 2 sounds, oh, oh. All right, so when children learn the letter names, they will need this sound because the letter O is one of the letters in English, and we pronounce it with a diphthong. So my personal favorite song for teaching diphthongs is the Pink Panther theme, because in the Pink Panther theme, if you don't know it, it goes oh, 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 oh. So you can see that you are using the two parts of the diphthong, and you are kind of gradually blending them together and getting faster and faster and more blended until you have a complete blended diphthong. As the person who is playing the saxophone in this song is using one breath for the two notes, we are using one sound. It's two sounds in one. Okay, so it's the same idea, and it gets faster and faster, which increases the speed, it increases the fluency, and it makes the diphthong sound more and more natural. You can practice if you want. Oh, 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 oh. And after you can say, oh, 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 oh. Okay, so my students love the Pink Panther. You can use your imagination and use what is fun and relevant to your students, especially Pink Panther. I think he's international, but if he's not famous in your country, you can find something which is. All right, so in phases 2 to 4, we can also use something which is called sound button. If you can see this little dot which is appearing here, oh, there it is, that is a sound button. And we can use sound buttons, one button for one sound to pronounce each letter, each grapheme sound, each phoneme. So in this example, we have 3 dots, k, a, p, cap. So we are segmenting and blending. So these sound buttons can make it a bit easier to do that. Okay. All right, now we're going to move on to phase 5. In phase 5, children learn alternative ways of spelling words. For example, here you can see I've written O-W or O-U can be written to pronounce the sound ow. So we can pronounce O-W as ow or O-U as ow. And in this example here, which is from those famous pages I spoke about at the beginning, we have ow, pronounced in 2 ways, O-U and O-W, and you can see that the color is red. In this way, we can exploit, again, the environmental sounds that we used way back in phase 1. So here the color is red, and we can say red is for the fire brigade. What noise does the fire brigade make? It makes ow, 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 ow. Once again, using an environmental sound and getting faster and more fluent as we go. And we can do the same with tiger, the I sound in tiger, which is spelled with an I or spelled with a Y. Tiger is blue. Blue can represent the police. So we can say I, 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 I. Okay. This way we add life to the sounds. And we, again, associate them with environmental sounds. You can then go on to this text, for example, and say, okay, here's a word, it's red. Is it the fire brigade or is it the police? It's the fire brigade. What sound does the fire brigade make? Ow. So it's owl. And you can do the same with tiger and the police. Here's F-L-Y. What color is it? It is blue. Blue is for the police. The police says I. Okay, and then the child can pronounce the word fly. Okay, so this way we can start to introduce in a fun way these alternative spellings. I personally choose not to always use the IPA and instead use environmental sounds, just because of time limitations and because of my context. You can also add in the IPA if you feel that is useful for your classroom. Another thing which is introduced in phase 5 are split diagraphs. Split digraphs, also called magic E, are a way that we convert sounds, consonant, vowel, consonant words, to sound different. So for example, here we have cub, we add the magic E, and we have the word cube, hop, hope, kit, kite, man, main, etc., etc. These words, which are exactly the same, except for one phoneme, so cub and cube are exactly the same, except for one has and one has oo. We call these minimal pairs. And these minimal pairs can be extremely useful in teaching many things, amongst which split digraphs and magic E. So, magic E, how can we bring that to life? Well, actually, it's very easy because we have the word magic. It's just asking to be brought to life. It has the word magic in it. It's just asking to be fun. So, magic E, we can talk about Harry Potter. Harry Potter has a hat and Harry Potter has a cape. Okay, and Harry Potter has a wand. He has a wand. Okay, this is a pen, but it is also a magic wand. What can we do with our magic wand? We can practice drawing the letter E, which is going to be magic. We can practice drawing it in the air drawing. And we're using more gross motor skills than fine because we're doing it in the air. It can be as big or as small as you want, depending on your students' abilities. And we can introduce also a little chant. So we can say 1, 2, 3, magic E. And so you move your wand and you're just like Harry Potter here. 1, 2, 3, magic E. All right, so like this, we get the children excited and we practice their motor skills, practice remembering the shape of the letter, and we make it into a game. It's a spell now. It's not writing, it's a spell from Harry Potter. Then we can use this spell to transform words. So here we have the word cap. We can use sound buttons, k, a, p, to read it and blend cap. And we use our spell and our magic E, 1, 2, 3, magic E, and it transforms to something for Harry Potter, a cape. Harry Potter wears a cape. We can use sound buttons, k, a, p, segment, and blend, cape. Okay, we can repeat this for several minimal pairs, hat, 1, 2, 3, magic E, and it becomes hate. I hate broccoli. And you can choose the different words and the interpretations of these minimal pairs, which will be fun for your students. When you have been through a few minimal pairs, your students can start to write some of the words. Depending on their ability, they could copy these words from your presentation or from whatever you're using, or they could perhaps be able to write them alone. It really depends their abilities. It's not a test anyway, they can copy if they need to. So after we have done this, we can start to integrate phonics with grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary. So we can play a game and make it into a communicative game. As we all know, the communicative approach is very famous, and communicative purpose is very important in this approach. So we can integrate these skills together. We read, first of all, we can read a full sentence. She's got a game. Which picture is it? Ooh, which picture is it? It's picture number 8. Well done, very, very good. We can read some more sentence. Notice I'm always using he's got or she's got, and I am using the same grammar so that they can practice also this grammar, which perhaps is appropriate at this level. For my young learners at this level, they will be practicing he's got and she's got. Okay, and after that, we can make this game communicative. We can do a few examples with the class where the teacher asks you, and then students can work together. They can write full sentences. Again, notice that I have written he's got a, she's got a. they can copy this. It's not a test. It's just practice for them. He's got a, she's got a. They can work with their neighbor, who will guess which picture it is, or they can ask the whole class which picture it is. And as you can imagine, this is a game which can be used in the classroom or online. Okay. So I highly recommend this method. Just giving it a try. Give it a try. Okay, just see if it works for you. That's why we're here, just to suggest a few different things. Okay, worked for me, maybe it's going to work for you as well. Okay, so other ways to build pronunciation skills. We're back to this famous page once again with the tiger and the mouse. And with pages such as this, we can optimize students' desire to show off. Students, some of them, love to show off and show that they can, for example, play an instrument. So before, our pen was a magic wand. Now our pen has become a drumstick to go drum, 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 drum. So we could have started with the police, the fire brigade. We can progress on to saying this chant, and we can use our drumsticks to drum along to the chant. There's a mouse in the house. There's a tiger on a bike, like this, okay? So they can pretend they are in a rock band, which is quite fun for some people. If they are online, if they're at home, you can even assign band roles, and students can even use their own real instruments. I've done this in my class, which was very funny. And really motivating for the students, because they really wanted to show that they could say this chant, and they could, okay, their musical abilities were variable, but they could pretend, at least, to play the guitar and say the chant at the same time. Most of them pretended. It's quite difficult to play an instrument. Okay, but this is just a way for them to really bring this to life and make it fun. Even if we are teaching online, even if we seem like we might feel a little bit of a disconnect. So I'm just going to do a little recap now of what the takeaway is. I want you to know that phonics and pronunciation are important for young learners, and that they can be fun. I hope that you have understood this today. I want you to understand that we can use environmental sounds to give students inspiration on how to pronounce phonemes, such as the one I've used. I would like you to understand that letters and sounds can be made into little characters. Remember the little H letter who was running and going, and how cute he was? We can make them come alive. Okay, I want you to understand that we can use TPR techniques also with pronunciation. We can make children drive their car, or fly a plane, or many other things. And I want you to understand that people like Mikey, my puppet, can help empower young learners and help them learn to segment and blend, among many other things, but the activity I showed you was for segmenting and blending. Here is a small list of the resources that have been useful to me. I am going to ask Eva to paste these into the chat for you a bit later. So you can read this OUP blog about pronunciation for young learners. It was very interesting. I highly recommend Tracy Chappleton's talk, Phonics for Very Young Learners. It goes into much more detail about simply only phonics. So I highly recommend it on YouTube. You can find it. I recommend this explanation of the 6 stages of phonics. It's from a YouTube channel called Little Learners. And she goes into much more detail about the 6 stages of phonics as used in an L1 classroom. You have the Alpha Blocks cartoon. There's some research from teachers in Colombia, action research about the benefits of teaching phonics for pronunciation was very useful for me. And finally, the Jolly Phonics example lesson can be found on YouTube. You don't have to use this specific link. There are a number of different lessons on YouTube that you can watch to get inspiration. So thank you so much for participating in this webinar. I hope you've taken away some useful ideas. Thank you once again to the organizers for everything you've done, and I really appreciate everybody who's taken time out of their busy schedule to participate in this webinar in whatever way. Thank you so much.
Okay, Rosie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, actually, thank you very much. It was really interesting and productive.
Yeah, really, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, it was really kind of really interesting. Okay, considering that we've got only very short time, and you could really manage. To give at least the main tips for teachers that they can use in the teaching. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We have a couple of questions. The first one, what do you think, Rosie? Shall we use your method with adults? Is it possible?
I would say that this depends on which adults you have in your classroom, and what kind of attitude to life they have. If they have like a real childlike, fun attitude to life, I would definitely suggest giving it a try. The only thing that can happen is they don't like it, and they show you that they don't like it. If they don't like it, don't use it again. You tried, maybe it could work, maybe not. Give it a try, yeah, why not, if they're open-minded people.
Yeah, actually, it's exactly what I want you to do right now. Yeah. Russell, thank you very much. Ilaha, hello, Azerbaijan.
Hello, Miss Ilaha. Hello, miss you a lot.
You can say thank you very much. Miss Isabel, thank you for your question. Yeah.
Thank you for all your comments.
Yeah, Parvina, thanks a lot for being with us.
Yeah, thank you much.
Yeah, and also we had, what do you think about silent E? Here there is a question. When do you introduce silent E, just according to your experience?
Well, in traditional phonics programs, this is introduced in stage 5, which would be year 1 or year 2 when students are 6 or 7. But in this case, we're talking about L1 learners. You could introduce it. It depends really how much contact time you have with your students. If they are really strong in English, at learning English, you could introduce it earlier. If they are, moving a bit slower, or they'd have fewer contact hours per week, you would introduce it later. It really depends on where they are in their journey. But I would say definitely after you have done consonant, vowel, consonant words, so that then you can use those as a basis, and then you just add the E on the end using minimal pairs, and you can show them that it completely transforms, and you can use your little wand thing. After consonant, vowel, consonant.
Thank you very much. Actually, I didn't ask people about the part of the world they are from. Just, I would be more than thankful if you could type in the chat box what country you are from. Yeah, I saw Ukrainians here. I saw Azerbaijan. Actually, it's Morocco, India. Yeah, it would be great to see you people. Someone asked about certificates. Just tomorrow at 12 Ukrainian time, you will get an email with all the information about certificates and everything what we can offer you. Yeah. So we're still waiting. Yeah, you can see that was really interesting. I'll not skip those parts in my book again. Yeah, you see, Rosie, it's exactly what you wanted, just to have some kind of takeaway. It means that people realize that it might be really useful to use that part of the book. Actually, people asked about the book, and I answered that it was Kids Box by Cambridge University Press. Am I right?
Yeah, Kids Box.
Yeah, you see France, good vibes. Hello, France. Jamaica, Spain.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you so much for being with us. Samad?
Yeah, actually, that's not the last list. I do believe that we're going to meet our dear Rosie again and again. So it was just a start, and I guess that all the participants, they liked and they would like us to get more detailed information. And So you should just follow our page. I mean, and we will give all the further coming events. So thank you very much, Rosie. It was really amazing. Thanks a lot. Good luck to you,
Thank you so much.
your personal
My
and
pleasure.
professional life.
Okay,
And
thank you. See
thank
you.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
everybody. Bye bye.